The first time I saw it, it looked almost harmless. A hand at my daughter's wrist. A look that lasted too long. A sentence cut off the moment I entered the room. Then my sister laughed and told me not to be dramatic. I remember the sound of the cartoon still playing in the background. I remember my daughter looking at the floor. I remember the way my sister took the phone out of her hand and set it face down on the counter. Nothing loud happened. Nothing obvious. Nothing anyone else would call proof. But every part of me went still. That's when I realized something was very wrong. I'm 34. Divorced for 2 years. I work from home doing claims review for a regional insurance company, which means most of my day is routine. Screens. Deadlines. Notes. Quiet. My daughter, Lily, was 7 then, and after school she usually stayed with my sister for 2 hours until I finished work. It had been that way for almost 8 months. At first, it made sense. My sister lived 10 minutes away. She had no kids. She always said she loved having Lily around. She'd send me little pictures of snacks, coloring books, movie afternoons. It looked normal. Better than normal, really. Safe. Familiar. Then small things started changing. Lily stopped bringing home the drawings she made there. She started asking if she could stay in her room after dinner. One evening I asked what she and my sister did all afternoon, and she answered too fast. Nothing much. Kids say things like that all the time. I know that. But the way she said it felt practiced. Not casual. Like she had already decided that was the safest answer. A week later, Lily asked if she had to go there every day. I looked up from my laptop and asked why. She shrugged. I just don't want to. No tears. No complaint. Just that flat little voice children use when they've learned a subject won't be welcome for long. I called my sister that night. She laughed before I even finished the sentence. You always do this, she said. The second Lily gets moody, you turn it into some dark theory. I told her I wasn't accusing anyone of anything. I just wanted to know if something had happened. Nothing happened, she said. She's a child. Children test boundaries. And you've been tense since the divorce, so she's picking that up. That part stayed with me. Not because it was cruel. Because it was clever. It gave me something to doubt besides her. Myself. For 2 days, I almost accepted it. Then Lily started hiding her tablet whenever I walked in. Not using it. Hiding it. One afternoon I found it under her pillow, powered off. That wasn't like her. I asked why it was there, and she told me Auntie said not to leave it out because people look through things. I stood there for a second with the tablet in my hand. People meant me. That same night, my sister dropped by with groceries and that bright, helpful smile she used whenever she wanted to look generous in front of other people. She kissed Lily on the head, asked about school, then pulled me aside in the kitchen. You need to calm down, she said softly. You're making her anxious. I asked what she meant. She lowered her voice even more. Watching her like this. Questioning every little thing. She needs stability, not paranoia. There it was again. Not concern. Redirection. I nodded like I agreed. I even thanked her for helping. After that, I changed nothing on the surface. Lily still went over there. I still answered work emails. I still said yes when my sister offered to help. But I started noticing details I'd ignored before. How Lily flinched when adult voices got too cheerful. How my sister began texting less and calling more. How every answer she gave me came polished, quick, and just a little too ready. And the strange part was this. The more uneasy I became, the calmer I acted. Because if I was right, panic would only teach them to hide it better. And if I was wrong, then patience would do no harm. Either way, emotion was useless. So I stopped reacting. And I started watching. Watching quietly changes the way you notice things. Small habits become patterns. Patterns become timelines. The first thing I did was check Lily's tablet. Not aggressively. Not like a search. Just the way a parent sometimes scrolls through a child's device while they're doing homework nearby. Photos. Games. A few school videos. Nothing strange. But the storage was almost full, which didn't make sense. Lily rarely recorded anything. So I opened the video folder. Most of the clips were short. 10 seconds. 15. The kind kids make when they're pressing buttons without thinking. Then I found one that was 12 minutes long. The thumbnail showed the floor. I almost closed it. Then I noticed the timestamp. It was recorded at my sister's house. 3 days earlier. Around 4 in the afternoon. I pressed play. For the first few seconds nothing happened. The tablet was face down somewhere, recording fabric and carpet. Then voices started. My sister's voice first. Casual. She worries too much. Another voice answered. Male. Calm. Familiar in a way that made my stomach tighten. I told you she would eventually notice. The camera shifted slightly. Lily must have picked the tablet up for a moment before setting it down again. For a second the lens caught the living room. My sister was standing near the couch. And the man sitting beside Lily was someone I hadn't seen in almost 2 years. My ex-husband. The custody order was very clear. Supervised visits only. Court arranged. Neutral location. Not private meetings. Not hidden from me. The video kept playing. Lily asked quietly, "Is Mom coming?" My sister answered before he could. "No, sweetie. This is just our time." Then my ex leaned forward. Not threatening. Not loud. Just confident. The kind of calm people have when they believe the rules don't apply to them. He said something about getting used to things again. My sister told him he'd have more time soon. No anger in their voices. No raised tones. Just planning. Like I wasn't even part of the equation. The recording ended when Lily picked up the tablet again and turned it off. I sat there for a long time. Not crying. Not shaking. Just replaying those sentences in my head. Because the violation wasn't emotional. It was procedural. The custody agreement existed for a reason. 2 judges. 3 hearings. Months of documentation. And my own sister had decided to bypass it quietly. I checked the tablet again. There were 2 more recordings. One from the week before. Another from the previous month. In both, the same pattern. My sister hosting. My ex visiting. Lily confused but obedient. The third video included a sentence that removed any doubt about intention. My sister said, softly but clearly, "Don't worry. She'll never believe Lily if she tells." I paused the video there. Then I started documenting. First, I copied the videos. Laptop. External drive. Cloud storage. Then I photographed the screen showing timestamps. Then I wrote down every detail I could remember about Lily's behavior during those weeks. Dates. Conversations. Exact wording. I didn't message my sister. I didn't call my ex. Emotion would only warn them. Instead, I opened the custody file saved on my computer. The clause was still there. Unauthorized contact. Violation of supervised visitation terms. Third-party interference. Clear language. No ambiguity. And my sister had just turned herself into documented evidence. I closed the tablet and walked into Lily's room. She was coloring quietly. I asked if she wanted to stay home the next day instead of visiting aunties. She nodded immediately. No questions. That told me everything I needed to know. I kissed the top of her head and turned off the light when she fell asleep. Then I went back to my desk. Because now the situation was different. It wasn't suspicion anymore. It was evidence. And evidence doesn't argue. It waits. Confronting them would have ruined everything. Evidence changes the pace of things. Before that night, everything felt uncertain. After the videos, the situation became procedural. Facts. Documents. Steps. I didn't contact my sister. I didn't contact my ex. Instead, I called someone who had already seen the case once before. My lawyer. Her name is Karen Holt. Quiet voice. Efficient. The kind of person who listens longer than she talks. I told her I had something she needed to see. We met the next morning at her office. I brought 3 things: the tablet, a flash drive, and a printed copy of the custody order. She watched the videos without interrupting. No reaction. No commentary. Just a slow pause after the second recording. Then she rewound a specific moment. The line where my sister said Lily wouldn't be believed. Karen leaned back in her chair and folded her hands. "That helps," she said. "Not dramatic. Just precise." She explained what the recordings meant legally. Unauthorized visitation. Violation of court restrictions. Third-party facilitation of prohibited contact. My sister had unknowingly documented everything. Karen asked one question. "Has the father attempted direct contact with you recently?" I told her no. "Good," she said. "That means he believes this arrangement is working." Then she started outlining the next steps. Copies of the videos would be preserved through her office. A formal report would be prepared for family court. And an emergency hearing could be requested if necessary. But she recommended something slightly different. Patience. Because right now, they believed they were careful. And people who believe they're careful usually become careless. So for 2 more days, I did exactly what I had been doing before. Normal routines. School drop-offs. Work emails. Dinner. Lily didn't go back to my sister's house. I told my sister that Lily had a mild fever and needed to stay home. She responded with sympathy. Then she asked if she could visit the following week instead. The message was casual. Friendly. Like nothing had happened. Karen asked me to forward every message. Every call log. Every detail. Then something unexpected happened. 3 days later, my sister texted me a photo. It showed Lily sitting on the couch at her house. Except Lily hadn't been there. The photo was from the previous month. I knew that because Lily was wearing a sweater she had already outgrown. Karen studied the image carefully. "They're creating a record," she said. Meaning they were trying to make it look like visits were still normal. Which meant they already sensed something shifting. Karen made 2 calls after that. One to the court clerk. Another to a contact at Child Services who had testified during the original custody case. Quiet calls. Professional calls. Nothing dramatic. But paperwork moves quickly when evidence already exists. 2 days later we had confirmation. A review hearing had been scheduled. My ex hadn't been notified yet. Neither had my sister. And Karen suggested we keep it that way. Because people act very differently when they believe they're still in control. That same afternoon, my sister called. Her voice sounded relaxed. "Lily hasn't visited in a while," she said. "Everything okay?" I told her work had been busy. She laughed lightly. "Don't disappear on me," she said. "You need help whether you admit it or not." I told her I appreciated everything she'd done. Then we hung up. That evening Karen emailed me the court notice. It was official now. The hearing would address violations of the custody order and potential interference. My ex would receive the notice the following morning. My sister would receive one shortly after. And neither of them knew the recordings existed yet. Which meant the next time we all saw each other would not be casual. It would be documented. They thought the situation was stable. They thought they were managing everything quietly. They thought I was still uncertain. They thought it was just another week. They thought it was just another day. It wasn't. The notice went out early on a Thursday morning. My lawyer called me just after 9. "They've both been served," she said. Her voice sounded exactly the same as always. Calm. Organized. Like we were discussing a routine appointment instead of the collapse of 2 carefully hidden arrangements. The hearing was scheduled for Monday. 3 days. I didn't tell Lily anything. She was 7. Her world was school, cartoons, and the small routines that made life feel predictable. So the weekend stayed normal. We went grocery shopping. She watched a movie Friday night. We made pancakes Saturday morning. But my phone stayed quiet. My sister didn't call. My ex didn't message. Silence often means people are busy speaking to lawyers. Monday morning arrived colder than usual. I remember the air outside the courthouse being still, the kind of quiet that comes before offices open and hallways fill with footsteps. Karen met me near the entrance. "Remember," she said, "you don't need to argue anything today." I nodded. Facts were already doing the work. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was almost ordinary. A clerk organizing files. A judge reviewing paperwork. A few other families waiting for their cases. Then my sister walked in. She saw me first. For a moment her face held that same confident expression she always wore when she believed she could explain things away. Then she noticed Karen beside me. And the folder in Karen's hands. My ex entered a minute later. He looked less certain. Not angry. Just cautious. We didn't speak. The hearing started quickly. Karen presented the custody order first. The original restrictions. The requirement for supervised visitation. The exact language approved by the court. Then she submitted the recordings. No commentary. No speeches. The clerk connected a laptop to the court monitor. The first video played quietly across the room. My sister's voice. My ex sitting on the couch. Lily asking if I was coming. The judge watched without interrupting. The second recording followed. Then the third. When the line about Lily not being believed played through the speakers, my sister's shoulders dropped slightly. That was the first visible reaction she showed. The judge paused the video. He didn't look angry. Just tired in the way judges often look when they realize a situation is simpler than people tried to make it. He asked my ex a few direct questions. Had he been visiting Lily privately? Yes. Did he understand the custody order required supervision? Yes. Then he turned to my sister. Had she arranged the meetings? She hesitated. But the recordings had already answered that question. The judge closed the file slowly. The consequences were explained in measured sentences. My ex's visitation privileges were suspended pending further review. Any future contact would require court supervision and approval. My sister was formally restricted from acting as a childcare provider for Lily, and the court noted interference with a custody agreement as part of the official record. No shouting happened. No dramatic confrontation. Just signatures. Paperwork. Decisions. When the hearing ended, my sister walked toward me in the hallway. For a moment it looked like she might say something. Then she saw Karen standing beside me again. And she kept walking. My ex left through another exit. Karen shook my hand once. "You handled that exactly right," she said. Evidence had done everything. I drove home slowly that afternoon. Lily was waiting at the kitchen table doing homework when I opened the door. "Did work go okay?" she asked. I told her it did. Later that night, after she fell asleep, the house felt different. Not louder. Not happier. Just settled. For the first time in weeks, nothing felt uncertain. No questions. No hidden plans. Just quiet. That night, everything was quiet.